Alright, so I wasn't really interested in making a video like this. I don't want to be the guy that just talks about drama whenever it happens. I don't want to just report the news. But enough people were asking for my opinion on this, so I thought it would be easier to make a video, so here we go. To start, here's a little bit of backstory. Brockhampton is a hip-hop boy band composed of around 7 singing or rapping members, and then some behind-the-scenes people as well. In 2017, they put out 3 albums known as the Saturation Trilogy, which really put them on the map. In late March of 2017, they signed with RCA Records. Since then, we've witnessed really the first big controversial moment in Brockhampton's 3 or so years of being active. In early May, a ton of allegations came out against one of Brockhampton's founding members, Ameer from various women online and some people pretty close to Brockhampton, like ex-collaborators and Ameer's ex-girlfriends. They were accusing him of cheating on his latest girlfriend with a minor, degrading women, making forceful advances, being emotionally abusive, being very manipulative, etc. Once accusations from a few girls became public, it made a domino effect that we've seen a lot recently during the Me Too movement, where other victims feel empowered enough to tell their stories. More ex-girlfriends, fans, and more started telling their own stories of Ameer and his negative actions. During this time, everyone in Brockhampton had deactivated their social media in preparation for their upcoming album Puppy, so fans were waiting for a response, but we couldn't see their thoughts from any of the members because they weren't on Twitter or Instagram. A few days later, Ameer was the first one to reactivate on Twitter. He made a pretty vague apology, saying sorry to fans, apologizing for cheating on his exes, and disrespecting his partners. Obviously, this doesn't exactly address all the things that he was accused of. So at this point, there started to be a pretty sharp divide in the fan base, half of Brockhampton fans threatening to abandon the group if this situation wasn't taken care of, and half of Brockhampton fans attacking the first group because they don't really care about the accusations and just wanted Ameer to stay in the group. When I say that a lot of people don't care about the accusations, there's a good portion that literally just don't care at all. And then another portion that is in the mindset of, hey, it was the past, he said he's going to try to work on it, and that he's been trying to get help. Around this time, there was still a lot that needed to be said, and none of the other members were saying anything. One of the most important reasons to me why I think other members needed to address it is because of what Brockhampton represents as a whole. If you followed the band long enough, if you watched enough interviews, if you watched American Boy Band on Viceland, if you know the lyrics to all the songs, you should know that Brockhampton strongly goes against the kinds of things that Ameer was accused of. Brockhampton is supposed to be a safe space. It's supposed to be a place for kids, teenagers, adults, whatever, to feel accepted and comfortable no matter the circumstances, with topics like sexuality, mental health, bullying, and straight up abuse being key themes in Brockhampton's music. You can see why fans would feel betrayed by this, and even more so because none of the members were saying anything about it. So after Ameer's apology, Kevin was the first to really address the public about it. He went on Instagram Live, all the comments were asking about Ameer, all the fans were waiting for some big statement, and it wasn't exactly so concrete. What we got was Kevin kind of saying, it sucks, he doesn't agree with what Ameer's admitted to, it hurts, they've talked about it, and they're trying to get him help. Which, this statement is obviously better than nothing, but when a ton of fans are waiting for a deep apology and specifically wanting to hear that Ameer was being kicked out, this definitely wasn't that. I applaud Kevin for trying to say something and talk to fans about it, but it was a little weak, in my opinion. Soon after, all the members reactivated and were on social media again, but there wasn't much talk of Ameer and what was going to happen. On May 26th, Brockhampton performed at Boston Calling, and this was going to be a pivotal moment for what the group was going to decide on what to do. Do they neglect the outcry from fans and bring Ameer and let him perform, or do they leave him behind? It ended up being the latter, and I wasn't there, but from the videos and what I've heard from people talking about it, it was a very strange performance. All the members were visibly shaken up from the whole fiasco. When it was time for Ameer's verses, they would just kind of let the instrumental play, and everybody was just standing there awkwardly. Joba cried on stage, and the atmosphere was just very, very emotional. The next day, Brockhampton released an official statement. Ameer is no longer in Brockhampton. We want to sincerely apologize to the victims affected by Ameer's actions. We were lied to, and we're sorry for not speaking up sooner. We do not tolerate abuse of any kind. This is not a solution to their suffering, but we hope this is a step in the right direction. We are going to cancel the remaining dates of our current US tour to go home and regroup. Alright, so now we can get to my personal thoughts on the matter. Now this is some pretty deep, complicated stuff, so if you're gonna have some fight in the comments about this, let's keep it civilized. Abuse of any kind is nothing to take lightly. The victims deserve better than you saying, Ameer should stay in the group because I love the way he raps. That sucks. Don't let that be your side in all of this. To sum up my opinion in a sentence, this needed to happen. Regardless of however much you like Ameer and whatever your opinion may be on the whole should art be separated by the artist debate, it should be pretty clear that this was necessary to go down this road. Brockhampton just signed to a major label a couple months ago. The social climate for how people treat abusers would not take kindly to Ameer staying in the group. Whether you agree with it or not, morally, as a business decision, there was no way Ameer was staying in the group. Some of the biggest actors, producers, and celebrities in the world are being ousted from society for similar accusations. Brockhampton just signed to a major record label. If you think the label was going to let a known abuser stay in the group that they just signed, where half the fan base is hostile and wants him kicked out, and bigger celebrities are being rejected by society for less, I don't know what to tell you. In my personal opinion of how I feel about this, 1, you can see that I think they did the right thing business-wise. 2, I've taken a lot of steps in the past year or so to reevaluate myself and the art I consume, and stay away from morally bad artists and their art. So in the art versus morality debate, in my personal life, I'm making the decision to not listen or watch or consume art by people that I deem as bad. So as soon as this news broke, while it definitely hurt me to think this, I would have stopped listening to Brockhampton entirely if Ameer stayed in the band. If you disagree with that and you want to continue to watch all of Woody Allen's movies and you want to listen to XXXTentacion, then sure, go ahead and do that. I think it's a very complicated, deep conversation that everyone needs to have with themselves. Art is the best, and admittedly some terrible, horrible people make great art. So it's up to you if you think supporting bad people is worth consuming their great art. Next, I've seen a lot of people saying that Brockhampton is nothing without Ameer and that it's all downhill from here. I couldn't disagree more. Yes, he's a founding member of the group, yes, he's very talented, and personally for me, he's probably the first person I really fell in love with in the group. I think he's by far the best part of Saturation 1, but is he so talented and important that the rest of the group can't go on without him? No, not whatsoever. This is just my opinion, but I think he was by far the weakest member on Saturation 3. The quote-unquote Ameer flow, that I'm sure everyone's familiar with at this point, makes some entire songs unlistenable to me. I think you could take every one of his verses off that album and it would be just as good, if not better. That being said, Saturation 3 is an album that I absolutely love, so do I think that they could make great music without him? Obviously. Without Ameer, there are still like 12 musical or just artistic members of Brockhampton that bring their own greatness to the group. Kevin and Joba will still have incredible hooks and choruses, and great rapping verses whenever they choose to do so. Dom will still have his incredible wordplay. Matt will still have all of his smooth flows and lyrically morally important verses. Merlin will still bring the same energy that we know and love. Bareface will still sing amazing ballads. The production, music videos, and everything else will still be as great as they've always been. So if they choose to continue on, I think they can continue to grow and make even better music than what they've been making. And I want to talk about something for a second too. In this video and in real life, I and a lot of other fans were pretty hard on the group before Ameer was kicked out. We were demanding action immediately and wanting decisions to be made pretty much instantly after the accusations came out. This, while it may be necessary, was still a little harsh if you think about it from their side. These are best friends. These are people that are closer to each other than anyone else in the world, and it's also a business. It's their careers at stake. They have to look back at all of what Ameer's done for Brockhampton, done as a friend, and try to make a decision on what to do going forward for the entire group. That's tough. It's tough that going forward, what do they do at concerts? Do they do the same thing they did at Boston Calling and just let the instrumental play during his verses? Or do they have to rearrange 3 albums so that they know how to properly perform without him? Or do they just abandon those songs entirely? Piggybacking off that, Ameer's face is the cover of all those albums. What happens there? How does that get fixed? These guys had to make a business decision and kick out one of their lifelong best friends in order to move on with their careers. I agree with it 100%, I think it's the right and necessary thing to do, but I can't imagine how hard that must have been, especially with the pressure from fans and their label to do something about it so quickly. And for the people making the argument of, but people change, he's taking the right step to move forward, he's getting help, he apologized. Sure, I really hope he is taking those steps, but it's the right thing to do it away from the group. If he stayed, he'd be plaguing them with bad press, and I don't think it would be good for his recovery or the band going forward. And as I said before, Brockhampton's image as a safe space for everyone would be tainted forever. So truly, I hope he is taking the right steps, but not with them. It also wouldn't be fair to the victims to see him not lose anything. One of the biggest problems with this concept is that abusers have kept their power and used their power against their victims for too long. The album has to be pushed back, the tour dates are all cancelled, and those are the right steps to take. I think these are the necessary things to do for their own mental health, stability as a group, and as friends, and I think Brockhampton will be fine going forward because they've taken the necessary steps. This is important stuff, and if you disagree with the fact that the world is changing and listening to victims of abuse instead of neglecting them, I think you need to reevaluate your priorities. Listen to other people, hear them out, and be kind. Thanks.